Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Startup Central, and putting the spotlight then on Startup of the Day. Well, homegrown e-commerce platform Meesho has launched a dedicated voice bot that will now help resolve customer queries on the platform. In fact, the launch comes at a time when several e-commerce companies are leveraging AI and Gen AI to lower costs and optimize operations. And to discuss that and more, I'm now joined by Sanjeev Barnwal, the co-founder and CTO of Meesho. Thank you very much, Sanjeev, for joining us here on ET Now. First things first, Meesho has launched India's first Gen AI-powered voice bot at scale, but what does this really bring to the table for Meesho?
Yeah, no, I think so. Basically, we have built India's first Gen AI-powered voice bot, which today operates in two languages, Hindi and English. Today, it's operating at about 60,000 calls per day. So this is where we believe that in India, we are the first ones to kind of launch at this scale. I think there are a lot of complex pieces that had to fall in place to make this work, and I'll maybe mention some of them. I think the first and foremost in a voice bot, right? Like, I think the hardest part is how do you enable this conversation in real time? Because in a chatbot setup, you always have like couple of minutes, 1 to 2 minutes available to kind of generate that response. But in a voice setting, like you have to be real time, otherwise the customer will will kind of go through this laggy conversation, which is not a great experience.
All right, Sanjeev, but you're saying that you plan to expand on this automation, but specifically on the cost perspective, what kind of cost efficiencies have been unleashed by AI for Meesho? Have you seen the company's costs down as a result of these AI deployments that you're talking about?
Yeah. So last year we had launched customer support chatbot, and today about 95% of the chats are handled by bots, right? 5% falls back to humans where it's more complex queries and so on. On the voice front, we are seeing cost per call. Like when you compare it to human agent, it has become 25%. It has gone down by three-fourths. So that is today at this scale, and we haven't even scaled it to 100%. When we continue to scale it, optimize the cost further, I suspect this will go down further from 25% to maybe 15%. A lot of efficiency is getting unlocked through this.
All right, Sanjeev, so that sounds incredible, but can you also throw some light on your profitability numbers? In August of 2023, you became the first horizontal e-commerce platform to be profitable, but what about the past 1 year? Can you share some numbers?
Yeah, so over the last 1 year, we have grown by about 30% YOY. We became the first horizontal e-commerce platform to become profitable. I think it's a big deal for us. And I think while doing that, I think our losses reduced by some 97%. And the entire year, we were like free cash flow positive.
Right, so you are saying that you're growing 30% YOY, and when you speak about this growth, help us also understand how much of this growth is coming from urban and rural segments. Last year reported that there was an 80% increase in interactions from Tier 2 regions in March, and how much has that pie then grown for Meesho?
I think roughly over the last 1 year, our Tier 4 representation has increased to some 45% of the entire like user base that we have. So that's just in the last 1 year. Overall, we have some 165, I think 165 million odd customers. Out of that, like 45% comes from Tier 4 and beyond.
Right, Sanjeev, one final question before we let you go. I want to get in your thoughts on how you're seeing the quick commerce industry evolving, on the kind of competition that players like yourselves are looking at from quick commerce companies, given the kind of shorter delivery timelines that this segment really has. How will it really change the retail landscape, and what's the kind of an impact that you foresee for a company like Meesho?
So I think quick commerce kind of solves really good problem of bringing convenience to users, but unfortunately that convenience has to come at some cost, right? Now, for us, our user base is more targeted towards like users who are going after affordability and accessibility to a wide selection of products. That is a value that we bring on table. And there we don't see any competition. In fact, this last festive period was great for us. Like YOY, we grew by about 40%. In fact, during this festive period itself, we saw like about 145 million odd customer visits. We saw about 3 crore more new app downloads happening only during this festive period. So we see our festival season going like went really well. So we don't see any impact of quick commerce.
Right. Sanjeev, so one final question before we let you go. In 2022, Meesho had mentioned that it plans to go public in the next 20 to 24 months. And this is a statement that was made by CEO Vidit Atre. Could you give us a status check on those timelines and if those timelines have really changed?
Yeah, no, I think there's no new information there. Like where we have the same timelines that Vidit had mentioned earlier. And when we have any new information, we'll be happy to come back and share it. We don't have the exact timelines. I think we'll see like so it's an evolving process, right? It's a complex one. So we'll see as it evolves. We'll come back when we have more visibility of the timeline.
All right, so 12 to 24 months from now is something, is the timeline that you have so far as the company is looking at an IPO is concerned. There's no change so far on those timelines. On that note, thank you very much, Sanjeev, for taking the time out. Really appreciate you joining us right here on ET Now. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time's up on Startup Central today, but we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Thank you very much for tuning in. In fact, you can also catch our show clips on etnownews.com and, of course, on YouTube on ET Now. And do share them with your friends if you find value in what we bring to you. On that note, goodbye and thanks very much for tuning in.